In the shadow of Mount Spokane lies the windswept Peone Prairie. This is where Greg Riddle, a third-generation farmer, owns and operates Riddle Farms. It's an agricultural lifestyle he loves.
My grandpa bought this farm here in 1944 and started farming with my dad and my uncle. And I worked with my grandpa when I was younger, and then as I got older I was working with my dad and running equipment and driving tractors and truck and helping with harvest, and always knew that that's what I wanted to do.
Riddle Farms produces not only 700 acres of alfalfa, it's also raising the awareness of the important role that farmers play in everyday life. For 2 weeks each May, Riddle becomes Prairie Professor of an educational program called the Model Farm.
The Model Farm actually started years ago when my grandpa and grandma and my dad and uncle all put together the Model Farm to have kids come out from the city and educate them about farming. And that was back in the 60s, and I actually came out in first grade. Well then, as time went on and my wife and I were farming, we started reading all the bad publicity farmers were getting in the news and the media, you know, fertilizer and chemicals and pesticides and what we're doing to our food and stuff. So we just thought it was time to bring the kids back out to the farm and see what we do.
For 10 years, the Northwest Natural Resources Institute and the Ag Bureau of the Spokane Regional Chamber of Commerce have partnered with Riddle Farms to organize the Model Farm program. Since its inception, nearly 25,000 urban school children have experienced what it's like to live on a real working farm, many for the first time.
When the kids come out, I want it to be a learning experience, fun. So we've set it up into stations. We'll take the kids to the barn, we have it full of animals, we'll show them all the animals, talk about the animals, where our food comes from. And then we all have a conservation hill. We talk to them about conservation and how farmers used to farm in the old days straight up and down because they were afraid of tipping over, but that caused erosion. So we want to save our soil and our topsoil. I show the kids the grain tank and the crops that we raise out on Peone Prairie: peas, lentils, wheat, barley, oats, and we talk about how you store them. All right, now we'll head over to the pond. Then we have a pond out there that's just full of wildlife. The kids get to go out to the pond. Some years we see baby ducks. There's turtles once in a while. If it's a good hot day, they'll see. They might even see an occasional garter snake. But basically we have an aquarium set up and they'll see the tadpoles, frogs, algae growing and all the different wildlife in the pond, and then how the pond was built and what we used it for.
You're swimming!
And then we'll walk up into the woods a little ways and we'll talk about the forest and the trees that we have and how we take care of the trees in the forest. And then we talk about the wildlife while we're up there, around Riddle Farms, and have the kids try to guess all the different wildlife we have: deer, elk, moose that we've had in our pond before. They'll usually see a hawk flying around, or you know, a coyote or a deer running by. So we'll do that. Then we go down to the old machinery and we explain to the kids on the old machinery how they used to farm. And the farmer would sit here and the horse would pull it, and when it got all full of hay, he'd step on this lever and trip it, and it would buck and it would dump. So we go from the old machinery to the newest machinery and explain it all to the kids. And then by the time they go all the way around, they've gone through about an hour to an hour and a half trip, and then they usually end up having lunch, and then we have ice cream for them when they get all done.
My favorite part of this was watching the kids experience agriculture. It's one thing to teach it in the classroom, but unless they're in that environment, they don't get it. So seeing it, touching it, smelling it, hearing it is really one of the most valuable things we could get from this farm.
Teaching by learning and doing and seeing and getting to touch the animals and getting to be out and actually physically see what an acre looks like, and showing them what a bushel of wheat is and how hard the farmers work to produce the food that they have on their table, and that, you know, although they might get their food at Safeway, the food comes from a farmer just like Greg that they met here today.
These things will be full grown in 2 months. Honestly, some really do not know where their food comes from, or you know, how that it is being raised. You know, they'll hold that baby chicken in their hand, and then when you tell them in 2 months that chicken will be full grown and ready for market, they'll smile and nod. And then you say chicken McNuggets and you can see the look on their face. They realize what you're talking about. And they'll ask me what the name of the pig is, and I'll say it's pork chop or ham, because when I grew up, we didn't name the animals, so we just name them pork chop or ham or bacon, and they laugh and they get out, but they understand what we're talking about. The teachers give us real good feedback. They say that they can use this for creative writing, what their favorite part. It could be the ice cream barn, or a frog, or a spider web they saw, or the horse, I mean, anything. So they can use it for writing, they can use math. I mean, they can talk about our acres and pounds per acres and how many tons that we got. I mean, we're constantly using math on the farm. They can talk about the ecology with the pond, you know, the frogs and all the things of nature that are around and the animals and the cycle that goes around with it. So the teachers can take what they've seen and done with the kids and work it in, you know, several different directions.
The most important lesson for these kids is that agriculture is all around them. They live it. We are completely dependent on it, and that it affects everything we do at school and at home.
Yeah. We asked one group, what was the favorite thing you saw today when they got their ice cream treat? And one of them said that their favorite thing was Dave, the narrator. We've got people that have come out that have been professors in college. They've been people that have run hog farms, dairy farms, grew up on a farm and worked for a bank. There are people from all different walks of life but have agricultural background or something affiliated with agriculture, and they believe in it, so they come out and give the trips, and I think they really enjoy to spend the time with the kids.
Former President Dwight D. Eisenhower once said, "Farming looks mighty easy when your plow is a pencil and you're 1,000 miles from the cornfield." Thanks to farmer Greg Riddle and his family, corporate support, and countless teachers and volunteers, that gap of misconception is closing, while opening young minds to farming's vital role in today's world.
I think if I had to choose a profession or start my life over out of high school again, I think I'd have gone to college and became a teacher. I admire teachers. I think they've got a tough job, but a wonderful job, because when I'm around those kids, it's just everything seems easier and better and happier, and the big thing for me is just being with the kids.
Yeah, he's real nice.
If you have an idea for Northwest Profiles, send it to KSPS TV, 3911 South Regal, Spokane, Washington 99223. Northwest Profiles is a presentation of KSPS Public Television.